This is the outlaw and lawman map of Oklahoma. The Oklahoma and Indian territories were policed by the cavalry, the Frontier Army, and also later there were Cheyenne policemen up here at the Cheyenne Agency. But the main policing was by the deputy marshals, the U.S. Marshals out of Fort Smith. And that was controlled by Judge Isaac Parker, right here, who was known as the hanging judge. There were just a few marshals, but there were upwards of maybe 250 deputy marshals that worked out of Fort Smith, that traveled out into the territories with warrants, serving warrants, and rounding up desperados for horse stealing or running whiskey or murder or whatever crime. So the deputies would normally hire what they called posse men, pay them $1 a day to go with them, and they'd go in the groups. They'd get a jail wagon, take it along with them, and they'd serve several warrants. That way they could make some money for travel, for serving warrants, for making arrests, and for feeding these prisoners they caught, and then bringing them back eventually to Fort Smith to stand trial in Judge Parker's court. And the judge was known as the hanging judge because under his tenure, probably about 90 prisoners were hanged there at Fort Smith Gallows. And a lot of times if someone didn't give up and they had to shoot them, they had cameras, so they did what we call trophied them. They put them on a board or a door and took a picture of them, often with the law enforcement officers right beside them. In 1922, the jail was auctioned off to a local farmer. He moved it about a mile away. They stored beehives in it. In 1922, it was sold at auction to a local farmer. He moved it about a mile away and used it for storage. It was moved to the Canadian County Historical Society in 1989. It nearly got away. Luckily, one of our members had grown up in that area, and he recognized what it was, so it was saved for history and for posterity. This is our safe here at the Darlington Jail where we keep valuables. A lot of the prisoners don't have very much, but we still put their valuables in here. We can keep a little reward money, and we're entrusted with it. Don't make much a month, maybe $30, but that's the way it goes as we try to police the prairie and keep the law out here on the Great Plains.
The agency hired Indian police, and they always had about 50 of them, and they paid them $11 a month.
So what we have right here is a horse thief.
A what?
A horse thief.
I'll have you know I didn't steal that horse. I found him.
No, it wasn't yours. It had split ears. It was an Indian pony. So what we
Split ears?
Right. So what we need to do is just shackle you because I hear you're a runner too. So
You mean I've got to wear those things?
right. Hands straight up where I can see them at all times. Oh, did I drop that on you? Sorry about that. Have that foot out here. Put that one on. Okay. You may go far, but not very fast. So in the cell. This little Darlington jail was built in 1885 at a cost of $387. The walls are 10 feet tall and they're made out of 2x4s. They're stacked on top of each other or laminated, and there's a spike about 10 inches long every 4 inches in the wall. The jail without the floor would weigh about 7 tons. It has 200 pounds of nails in it. It was at the Darlington Agency Jail from 1869 to about 1910. Then in 1910 it was used as a Masonic home, and in 1922 the jail was sold at public auction, moved about a mile away, and used for a smokehouse. In 1989 the jail was moved here at the museum, but only because it was noticed by someone who grew up in the area that knew its significant historical value. Otherwise, it would have been lost forever.
Hey, it's cold in here. Did I get anything to eat? Besides that, I didn't steal those horses. I'm innocent.
Well, just hold your horses. We're getting you something from the cook shack. We'll be
Look at
right
this
in with you.
bed. Burlap. How do you expect anybody to sleep on scratchy,
Yeah.
itchy? It's terrible.
You will. You'll sleep. It's all you have, isn't it?
I guess so. Hey, did I get anything to eat? What kind of a place is this?
Here you go.
What's this?
Enjoy it.
What is this?
Bread and water, what you deserve.
Yeah. Hey, where's your bathroom facilities at here?
It's a bucket in the corner. Look around.
That?
That's it.
Yeah. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
So every month I draw about $30 from the government, so normally I have to have about 2 jobs to make ends meet.
Wouldn't run down rustlers that rustled your cattle. See, or horses. But the government had to come in with some marshals. And that was the only law. There was no law out here except that marshal.
And how many marshals were there?
There was one marshal here in this area. Covered about 3 million acres. One U.S. Marshal. Finally, they sent him some deputies. And whenever they'd catch these guys, especially if they caught government horses or Indian horses, that was government. This other was civilian. You know, and the civilians, they had to do their own catching and shooting and hanging. So the marshal would come in when you stole a government horse or soldier run off with it, you know, escaped with a government horse, well then your U.S. Marshal, that was the government, see.
What was the penalty for the crime of stealing a horse?
Well, if you stole off a civilian, he caught you, you got hanged, most likely. Most of the time. You'd be lucky if you didn't get hung. Because they was stealing horses and they carried them up into Kansas, selling them, stealing them down to, and the Indians, the only value, the Indian didn't have money or a bank. He had horses. If he wanted to get married to that pretty Indian woman over there, well, he'd have to talk to her daddy, and it was 20 ponies. If she was real good looking. If she wasn't too good looking, it was 2 ponies, see. So, I mean, that was their money, in other words.
Yeah.
Their